Okay, good morning, everyone. We're getting ready for yoga. This is Lily. Say hi, Lily. And today I thought I would bring in some options of some fun props that I like to use. So, what I've done is taken two tennis balls and tied them into a sock. So, I just dropped two tennis balls into a sock and then tie the end. And we can use this for a little bit of a back massage. And then you could also do a single ball, and then if you have a racket ball, that can be a little bit softer. And we're going to use this for a little bit of a back massage and a foot massage or cat toy. She wants to play with it now. And then if you do have a wall space or something you could use that you can either have your body parallel against, like I don't have a wall space, but I am going to use this bed just that when we do our balance later, we'll work on half moon pose. And so we can be parallel to the bed or to the wall. And that just helps give you something that you feel like you might be able to lean up against if you feel unsteady at all. So let's start out as we usually do. We'll start out on our backs and feel free to bring with you a block. And then you can have the tied up sock with the two tennis balls, or you can have a single ball. And these are everything is optional. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start by relaxing onto our back, coming into constructive rest pose. So this is going to be, I'm just going to shimmy myself down to the middle of the mat. Allow your head and your back to fully rest on the earth, and then you can walk the feet out wide, allow the knees to tent in towards each other, and then maybe you cactus the arms or rest the hands on the belly. Take a moment to allow yourself to arrive by maybe starting out with a few nice deep inhales all the way to the bottom of your belly, growing your belly like a balloon. And then you might even exhale, sigh out through the mouth. Letting go of all of the breath. Maybe you take an audible sigh, allowing your back body to sink into the earth. Allow yourself to feel held and supported by the ground. Coming into stillness with a few of those big audible sighs on your exhale. And they say that that kind of audible sigh and this deep breathing is so soothing for our nervous system, helping to soothe our vagus nerve that travels along through the body. And then allow any intention you might have for your practice today to come to mind. If there's something you'd like to cultivate or something you'd like to release. And today in class, we're starting with this idea of the niyamas. So we've been exploring in this series yoga's ethical practices, the yamas and the niyamas. There are 5 of each. And the very first niyama, which we say are basically yoga's instructions. Niyamas are the yoga's instructions on how we can cultivate our inner world. And the first one is called Saucha, which means purity. in the book by Deborah Adele. I'm just going to read a short passage about Saucha purity. She says, the jewel of Saucha invites us to purify our bodies, our thoughts, and our words. As we purify ourselves physically and mentally, we become less cluttered and heavy. Purification brings about a brightness and clarity to our essence. As we purify ourselves from the heaviness and clutter of toxins, distractions, and scatteredness, we gain clarity to meet each moment with integrity and freshness. We become more pure in our relationship with each moment. So if that idea of Saucha purity speaks to you, maybe you use it today and this week as an intention for your practice. And so I thought we would incorporate just a little bit of this idea of self-massage in terms of that idea of purity. So you could use either the two tennis balls together tied up in a sock to kind of massage along the spine. So what's nice is then this kind of actually allows you to massage along the spine on either side, that soft tissue, or you can do one at a time using either a tennis ball or a racquetball is going to be a little bit softer. So the way I'm going to do this, and feel free to use any other yoga practices that might feel good to you if this is not going to work for you if you don't have this equipment. So you can roll onto one side, either place the double together in between, like right underneath those shoulder blades, and it could be a little bit tender, so feel free to press into your heels, even pressing into your elbows, and then you could start to gently glide up and down, so that you're kind of rocking your body on those tennis balls. Now, if that feels too ouchy, feel free to move it off to the side, use something a little gentler, or maybe you do one at a time, placing the ball maybe in that soft tissue right in between your shoulder blade and your spine. That little pocket. And you can either find stillness here, breathing into that location, or you might find a gentle rocking, pressing into the feet, maybe gliding along the ball. Now, if this is not where you're holding tension, some people prefer to do the massage on the hips. And to do this, you might come into figure 4, crossing your left ankle over your right thigh, and then maybe you place the ball anywhere that might feel good on the glutes. Personally, I prefer the upper back. That's where I find the most benefit, but that's just me. So take your time on one side if you're using one of the balls, and then feel free to release that side when you feel ready, allowing the tissue to rehydrate with fresh blood, fresh oxygen, and then allow yourself to find the other side if you're using one of these items. Allowing yourself a moment to soften, relax, notice with curiosity, and experiment. Doesn't have to be right or wrong. Just allowing yourself to be with the purity of what feels right for you and your body. Either finding that stillness or that gentle gliding motion pressing into the feet and finding a gentle massage. Now, I did want to offer another option for those of you who might have a block and no ball, and this could be massage of the base of the skull. So what I like to do is take the block on the medium setting, tuck my chin, and then place the back of my head on the block, and then just allow your head to gently rock from side to side. And you might feel a nice massage right there at the ridge of your skull where it meets your neck. Not going for pain or pinching, just maybe some nice gentle sensations. And as you rock your head from side to side, you might think in terms of purity. What are some things that you could declutter about your life? Maybe busyness, feeling yourself overstretched. And we'll take one more nice deep breath wherever you're at. And then go ahead and release all of those props, coming back onto your back in a constructive rest position. And then from here, we'll sweep the arms out wide to the side. Find any props that might be in your way, and you can move them off to the side. And then maybe you start a little bit of snow angel movement, reaching the hands towards above past the ears and then glide them down towards the hips. And just fluttering the arms from side to side, up and down. I guess Kitty doesn't want to do yoga with me today. And if it doesn't feel good, you could instead start to rainbow the hands, lifting the fingertips up towards the sky, reaching them past the ears, and then fluttering them down towards the hips. Just finding some movement to wake up the upper back, the shoulders, some soft, gentle movement. Then when you're ready, we'll come back to our letter T shape with the arms. This time we'll float the fingertips up towards the sky, cross the right arm over the top of the left, and allow the hands to find the opposite shoulders. Just finding some space along the upper back. And then you can rock the elbows a little bit side to side, giving yourself a nice big hug. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we'll come back to center, open the arms out wide to the sides, and then this time cross the left arm over the top of the right, and you can gently rock the shoulders a little side to side. Take one more nice deep breath, give yourself a little squeeze, and then when you're ready, we'll release the arms, come back into a T shape, and then walk your feet as wide as the mat. Start to float the knees from side to side. And you might even turn your gaze in the opposite direction as your knees. Take one more nice deep breath here on each side. And then we're going to hold the knees to one side in stillness. So you can allow just gravity to help soften your knees towards the ground. Maybe turn your gaze in the opposite direction as your knees. And breathe here into your sensations. Without judgment, without criticism. Can you just allow yourself compassion and curiosity? And then on the next inhale breath, we'll float the knees back up to center, turn the gaze back up to center, and then try and find the other side. Softening the knees down and turning the gaze over towards your right hand. Or this is actually your left hand. Maybe, depending on what side you started with. Just turning your gaze in the opposite direction as your knees. With each exhale, maybe softening a little bit into the support of the earth. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you can float it back to center. Bring the knees and the nose up towards the sky. And then we'll roll all the way onto one side and press up into a seat. Feel free to use your blanket or pillow. So I'm taking my blanket and folding it to make a little bit of a pillow to sit on, and that can help lift your hips. You could also use your blocks underneath your knees for some extra support. I'm realizing we were needle felting this weekend in here, and one of the needles broke. I felt like maybe it was, I just got a little distracted. Sorry about that. Anyway, hoping it didn't stab me in the head. So if you want, you can either take a folded blanket, pillows underneath the knees, or the blocks if that feels comfortable to support the knees. But find any seated position that feels comfortable to you. And then we'll take a moment to arrive here in our seat. On the next exhale breath, you could bow your head towards your heart. Allow your chin to hover over your chest. And then we'll inhale, bring the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Exhale to bow once more. Inhale the right ear over towards the right shoulder. So take a few more nice deep breaths like this. Just allowing the head to rock from side to side. The next time your right ear falls over towards your right shoulder, just go ahead and allow yourself to soften there. Or it doesn't matter, whichever side you started with, be on the whatever side feels good for you, and then we'll find some gentle movement to wring out any holding or tension that might be living alongside the neck. So you can lift and lower the chin away from your shoulder and then towards your shoulder. Maybe even drawing some gentle, soft circles with the chin. And then go ahead, if you're drawing circles with the chin, you can find the opposite direction. And then we'll go ahead and find stillness once more. On your exhale, go ahead and bow your head towards the heart. And then we'll bring the opposite ear over towards the opposite shoulder. Either finding stillness or some gentle shakes of the head no. And maybe you can back away from your extreme edge. Just find softness. You might even take a little circle with the chin, starting in one direction and then moving in the opposite direction when you feel ready. Thinking of purity, you might invite any tension living there, just like cleaning house, just like eliminating clutter. And you invite it to release with your breath. And then if you'd like, you can bow your head once more towards your heart, and then we'll lift the gaze to center and start to roll out the shoulders, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears and then gliding them down, around, and back. Noticing if there's any tension living in the shoulders that you might be able to release with the breath. You might even toggle one shoulder at a time. And then we'll reverse the direction of those toggles. Or if your shoulders are in sync, you can squeeze the shoulder blades together, draw them up towards the ears, and round them down in front. Or you might try that toggle one at a time. And then we'll find stillness when you're ready. From here, you can either stay seated if this is comfortable, or maybe you even lean back, stretch the legs out, give them a little shake, and you might reverse the cross of your legs, or you could keep them out long if that felt better for the knees. From here, you could either try that hands and knees cat cow, or remember, you could also use a chair, or you could use cat cow from here. So inhaling to lift the heart forward, exhaling to round the spine back. So just taking some nice deep breaths to polish the vertebrae of the spine. Start by moving forward and back, and then feel free to find some circle movements if and when that feels good to you. Maybe drawing a great big circle with the belly button. We'll circle in one direction, and then if you're circling, you can feel free to reverse the direction of your spine circles. When you're ready, we'll come back to center, and then we're going to move to standing. If you'd like to take a downward facing dog, feel free to use the blocks or the chair. Or if you'd like to just come all the way to standing, you might Step one foot towards your hand, and then I'm going to move my blocks onto the high setting, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and then you can hop that foot in to find a forward fold and skip the down dog altogether. So totally your choice. If you want to take a little bit of a rag doll, maybe you heel toe your feet a little bit wide to the sides, wrap your hands around your opposite elbows, and you might just sway here a little bit side to side. Maybe taking some nice deep breaths and sighing them out through the mouth. When you're ready, we'll bring your blocks, your hands to your blocks. You can walk your feet so they're a little bit more close underneath your hips, and then press into your blocks or the seat of a chair, or maybe even your shins to press up halfway. On your next exhale, we'll forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And one more time. Inhale, press halfway up. Lengthen through your spine, tuck your chin, and then exhale to forward fold. And then we're going to rise up to standing. So however works for you, you might find a little micro bend in your knees, strengthen through your legs, and then sweep your arms out wide to the sides. Draw your hands up towards the sky, and then exhale to draw them into the heart center. We'll find a standing mountain pose. And then I thought we would do a little bit while we're standing to massage our feet. So for this is where you could use the support of a wall, support of a chair, just to help you with balance. So I might bring my hand to a chair or hand to the wall. And then I like for this, the tennis ball. But I'm going to show you how you can do some foot stretches without any props at all too. So if you're using the tennis ball, let's start there, and I'll hold on to the chair with one hand. You can balance on your right foot, peel your left heel off of the mat. Now, if you don't have a tennis ball, you could just work on some mobility, maybe making some circles on the ball of the foot. So I'm kind of circling the heel. And you could also tuck the toes under, stretching through the top of the foot. So I'm kind of just using just a little bit of my body weight, not very much, to get a stretch for the top of the foot. And you could find some movement here. If you have a tennis ball and you're balancing on one foot, maybe you bring the ball underneath the foot and start to glide your foot up and down the ball, up and down the length of your foot. Finding any of those little tender spots, you could take a moment to pause there, breathing into that spot. And or finding some movement. So take some time on this foot and just notice what you notice. Maybe alternating between pausing and pressing. And you could also eliminate the ball, just come back to maybe tucking the toes under, stretching through the top of the foot. And when you feel ready, we'll come back to standing mountain pose and just take a moment to notice the difference from left to right. How does it feel? Without judgment, just with some compassion and curiosity. Then when you're ready, we're going to try the other side. So either that rooting down on the left foot, maybe circling the ball of the toes, or tucking the toes under to stretch through the top of the foot. Or if you have the ball, you might start to glide your foot along the ball. See if you could notice maybe a fountain of gratitude at your heart center, stretching down into your feet. Remember, you can always find those little pressure places of pause to press into the ball. Hey, little baby. I wonder if you can hear her crying. When you feel ready, stretch any other directions that would feel good, either that top of the foot by tucking the toes under or lifting the heel, taking some circles on the ball of the toes, and just sending loving gratitude down to the feet. When you feel ready, we'll come back to stillness. Find yourself in your standing mountain. Take a moment to close down your eyes and just bring your awareness down into your feet. Thinking of purity for a moment and asking yourself what your feet might need to feel more detoxified, less cluttered, feeling lighter for your journey. And then when you're ready, we're going to blink the eyes open. And this is where we could use a wall space for support. So I'm going to move some of my props out of the way. I'm going to be using the bed as my prop here. And then you could use the seat of a chair or a block. And so we'll just clear everything out for the option of a standing balance. So my idea here is to come into a half moon pose, which is a standing balance pose. So we can come into a warrior two. And you can also, I think I've shown in previous classes how you can do a warrior two by having your bottom on a seat. You could even do that like on the couch too, although it's not, or the bed, it's not as stable. And then I'm going to place my block out in front, and I'm actually going to have the block at not directly in front of my right foot, but to the right of the right foot. And or a chair here, and I could really hug the chair with both of my hands. And then this is the idea, is we would come into standing on one foot and your other leg would be stacked on top. And this is why you could really do this leaning against the wall or just knowing that something's back behind you. Another option is, let's say I had a wall right behind me that I could rest my left foot on. So that would be another option. You could plant your right hand underneath your shoulder or maybe a little bit off to the side, and then you could grow your left arm up towards the sky. And this one is called Ardha Chandrasana Half Moon Pose. The idea is that you either have your left foot able to plant onto something behind you, a wall for support, or that you have the wall parallel to the body so that you could really just like lean against it. And maybe you just find yourself in sort of like, looks like a star kind of shape. Stretching your left arm away from your shoulder, kicking your left foot, stacking your hips so you're kind of all flatly in a parallel line. And you could bring your hand down to a block or chair. So that's the standing version of half moon, or they call that in Sanskrit Ardha Chandrasana. So feel free to stay as long as you'd like, playing around with this side. And you can come in and out. I'm using the bed for support here. That feels good, especially because it's a little bit off to the right. And so that actually helps, I think, with balance. If my right hand is not directly in front of my right toes, but a little bit off to the right. When you're ready, we'll come back to standing mountain pose, Tadasana. Take a moment to close down the eyes or soften the gaze and just notice. You might even lay your hands on top of your heart center. And then take a moment to pause there, and then you might even start playing around with the other side. Okay, let's get ready for half moon pose on the other side if you haven't experimented with that already. So you can bring yourself in kind of that warrior two like lunge. You might have the block out in front. Here I'm using the bed for cushion, and I'm just kind of leaning over so my right hip is stacking over my left hip. You can lean to the left on your block. You might lift your right hand up towards the sky, and you can do this all leaning against the wall. Or if you have a wall behind you, you might step your right foot onto the wall. So playing around maybe with coming in and out or holding your half moon. If I'm doing it with a block, I like to have my block out to the left. And take your time to just experiment with that. And then we'll come back to mountain pose. You might bring your hands onto your heart space. Maybe you can feel the rhythm of your heartbeat. I know mine got a little bit sped up from that activity, that movement. So that's a good thing. So we can feel gratitude for our heart center, for our body's ability to find that fluid movement, or maybe even choppy movement. That's okay too. And noticing how balance can be a dance, something we can play with. And then when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. We're going to do one more standing balancing pose. And this could involve also a little bit of a twist. So I'm going to use my chair for this one. And we'll root down through the right foot. Peel your left heel up off the mat. Now you could stay right here. This is, you're in asymmetry as well. You could stay right with your toes planted on the ground. And maybe this is just your nice foot stretch, kind of like the massage you did earlier. Staying here with your hands at your side or with your hands at your heart center, or floating your hands up towards the sky. And then what we'll do is bring the hands out in front, allow the dial of your left hand to continue, because that's the left foot is lifted, and you could spin it around into a twist, like a standing twist, a bit of asymmetry. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit more, let's come back to center, and you can either lift your foot to hover or onto a block, or you could step that foot onto the chair. Thinking about maybe this is a little bit more challenging. You could either keep your hands at your sides, grow them to your heart, or lift them up towards the sky. Think about recruiting your lower abdominals here. And then we'll bring the arms out in front, sweep the left arm, that's the left knee is in front, so you'll sweep and turn towards that left knee. And you could plant your palms, maybe your left hand at your hip, your right hand at your knee to accentuate the twist. And then we'll come back to center, inhaling to grow it up towards the sky or bring the hands to the heart. And we'll do one more twist like this. I'm going to try it with hands at the heart. If my hands are at my heart, I'm just going to turn towards the left. Maybe drop the hands to the left knee, left thigh. When you're ready, you can unwind your twist, step your feet out, and shake it all off. Letting that go, finding a little fluid movement in the spine. And let's go to the other side when you're ready. So allow yourself to oscillate back to center, remembering that we have options and choices. We can keep it simple by rooting down through our left leg, peeling the right heel off of the mat, keeping the toe mound pressing down. You could stay here. Inhale, lift the arms or bring them to the heart center. Maybe lift the gaze, finding your strength, rooting down through the left leg. See if you can recruit the lower belly to draw it towards the spine, melting the shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll find our twist, bringing the hands out in front, and then allow the right hand to continue on its own journey down towards your hip and maybe circling around behind you, finding a nice standing twist. Imagining you're holding a giant beach ball between your hands. Maybe peeking your gaze back towards your right thumb. And we'll inhale to come back to center. See if you want to stay right here for 2 more rounds, or maybe you want to float the leg, standing on one leg, or touch those toes down onto the chair, or it could be also onto the block. Feel free to keep your hands at your hips, bring them to your heart, or grow them up towards the sky, lifting your heart, lifting your gaze maybe. And then on the next exhale, we'll reach the hands out in front, allow the right arm to continue, and you could even just hug onto your floating leg, maybe bringing your left hand to rest on your right knee, right hand on your hip, turning your gaze behind you. Noticing that you have options. You're allowed to experiment. We'll unwind from our twist, come back to center, and then choose your favorite option. It doesn't have to feel like it's the hardest one. What would work best for you? What did you enjoy? And then we'll try that one for our third round. Follow the pace of your own breath. And see if you can enjoy that twist, wringing it out, just like cleaning house. Twists can help us wring out our spine, detoxify the body. And then when you're ready, release that, release the foot, and just shake it all off. Step the feet wide. Allow the arms to gently tap and graze your sides. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then return to your standing mountain pose, Tadasana. Your feet underneath your hips. You can close down the eyes for a moment. Settle your hands on top of your heart space and feel that gentle rhythm of your heartbeat. Imagining what it would look like for gratitude to overflow from your heart. And then we're going to be coming down to our bellies. So go ahead and blink your eyes open. You can make your way to your belly however you like. Maybe you use your chair for a moment for a chair dog. So I'm going to rest my hands on the seat of the chair, walk my feet back, allow your arms to reach forward as you maybe sashay your hips a little side to side. You might drop your head in between your arms, gently shake your head no, or nod your head yes. And then we'll make our way onto our belly. You can follow me there. I'm going to plant my palms on the mat, step my feet back, and then lower my knees gently down, and then press all the way down onto the belly. Move the chair out of the way. And you can stack your palms and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Take some nice deep breaths here and maybe some more sighs out through the mouth with your exhale. Inhaling, growing the back of the body, just allow it to inflate like a balloon. And then on your exhale, you might open the mouth, loosen the jaw, sigh it out, audible sighs. Hoping to soothe the nervous system, just take a moment to notice how you feel in this position. Maybe it would feel good to bend the knees and allow the heels to gently sway from side to side. When you're ready, you can return your feet onto the mat. And then we'll pick up the head, slide the hands so they're underneath the shoulders. And you can roll the shoulders up towards the ears, glide them down the back as you lift the heart center for a baby cobra. Maybe drawing the shoulder blades together at the back. Use the strength of your back body to lift your chest. On the next exhale, you could turn the gaze to the left. Allow the right temple to come all the way to the ground, or you could grab a block and rest the temple on the block. Pause here. Take a nice deep breath and exhale. And then on your next inhale, we'll roll the shoulders up and back. Another baby cobra, lifting the heart. You might start to recruit the strength of your glutes, tucking the tailbone, keeping light palms. And then this time we'll turn the gaze to the right, soften the left ear towards the mat or towards a block. Softening all of your effort. Taking a few nice deep breaths. We're going to do this 2 more times on each side. So go ahead and move at your own pace. It could be 1 more time on each side if you want to take it really slow. Inhale, rolling the shoulders up towards the ears, glide them down the back. Lift the heart for baby cobra. Could be a very soft, gentle, low baby cobra. And then go ahead and find softness, turning the head, softening down, relaxing all of your effort. Breathing along the side of the neck. When we do this, we're strengthening our back body. You might think of this area as your own seat of self-care. What do you need to do to purify your schedule, to allow time for your own self-care? Inhaling to lift the heart center. One more round, or maybe two more rounds, really, of baby cobra. And possibly one more. Nice deep breath. Exhale to soften and release. And then we'll bring the gaze back to center. Now, I want to give you some options here. We're going to do possibly a chest opener if this would feel good, but you could always rest in Makrasana if this is going to be too intense on the shoulder. You don't want to go towards pain, so we want to hopefully find a nice supportive position. I'm right now in what's called Sphinx pose, so this would be another place to hang out, stretching maybe through the upper back and the chest and the shoulders. If this feels good, I just have my elbows stacked underneath my shoulders, planting the palms on the mat. Or we can do this chest opener. So you can extend your, hopefully you can see this. This is my left hand out to the left. Bring the right hand underneath the shoulder and then creep the left fingertips behind you as you roll onto the left side. You could slide a block underneath the temple here and keep the legs stacked. Maybe you don't go that far, so you're kind of allowing your right shoulder to lean into the earth. So you could make this as gentle as you like. You can, for more sensation, you might press into that right hand to really lift your chest. And maybe you're getting into the front of the shoulder, front of the chest, the pecs. Really, I guess it would be just on this one side. So I'm feeling this through the whole front of the left shoulder in a good way. So make sure it feels good. Take some nice deep breaths. You can either rest your head on the ground or on a block. And just breathe into any areas of sensation here. Take one more nice deep breath. And then we'll roll back onto the front of the body. You can extend now your right hand directly beside you into a letter T. I'm going to slide the block underneath the right temple and then press into the left hand to roll onto the right side, stretching through the front of the shoulder, the chest, maybe the pecs, and see if you can soften into the supports here. Take your time to breathe and imagine your breath can circle the shoulder joint with gratitude. If you notice any subtle differences from left to right, maybe you can offer yourself some curiosity and compassion. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. When you're ready, you can roll back onto the belly and either press up to tabletop, um, and then you can either come into a child's pose. Now, I know some people were mentioning knees might be feeling tender, so if you're not interested in the child's pose, just feel free to come onto your back and hug your knees towards your chest. So you can either be on your front body in child's pose like this, maybe lowering your head, your forehead to the ground as you walk your hands out in front, or maybe you come into an upside down tabletop. I'm sorry, an upside down child's pose by coming onto your back and hugging your knees in towards your chest. And you could use the support of a strap around your shins. This is almost like a child's pose here, but just upside down. Maybe more like a happy baby pose. If you're on your back, you could start to rotate your ankles. Eventually, we all are going to meet up on our backs. And we'll find ourselves in like a bridge prep. So you might even grab a block now, walk your heels in towards your sit bones, and let's start to tilt the pelvis forward and back. So you can, like, imagine your pelvis is a giant bowl. You're going to spill it forward and then spill it back, pressing the low back towards the mat. So just a few pelvic tilts. And then you could grow this movement. Maybe you shimmy your elbows in towards your rib cage, and you might grow this movement into some bridge. Pressing into your heels, lifting your hips, using the strength of your glutes. Any amount that feels right for you. The next time you press up into a bridge, you could feel free to stay here in an active bridge, or if you want some support, you might slide a block right underneath your low back, that's your sacrum, and come into a supported bridge, coming into like a gentle inversion. You can keep your feet here on the ground in the supported bridge, or you could extend your legs up towards the sky, finding what works best for you today. And just knowing that can change from day to day, assessing your own personal battery. Maybe taking a moment to close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Notice where you can relax into the support of the earth. Where can you let go of holding? Go ahead and take one more nice deep breath wherever you're at, and then we'll land the feet back down on the mat if they're not there already. You can press into the heels to lift the hips if you have the block underneath you, and then just allow the hips to sway from side to side, releasing the block if it was there. So it's almost like you're thinking of your hips as kind of a hammock. And then you can go ahead and float them to the left, land them there, and allow the knees to fall over to the right, coming into a twist. Turning your gaze over towards your left hand. Allow yourself to soften now into this twist. Relaxing both of your shoulders onto the mat. Breathing down that elegant curve in your spine. Take one more nice deep breath on this side. And then when you're ready, we're going to unwind from the twist. Coming back onto the back, you can plant the feet, lift the hips, and once more, just allow your hips to sway a little side to side, just like a swinging hammock. Let's take a pause in between, and you can soften your back on the mat. Just take a moment to assess and notice the subtle differences from left to right. And then we'll press into the heels, lift the hips. Go ahead and hammock them back and forth with a little swing. We'll swing them over to the right slightly. Allow the knees to fall over to the left and then come into your twist, turning your gaze to the right. Allow both of your shoulders to soften into the earth. Enjoying your gentle twist. Feeling yourself held, cradled by the earth. Feeling that strong, steady support rise to hold you. See what more you can do to soften and relax into support. Take one more soft, soothing breath here. And then when you feel ready, you can unwind from your twist. And feel free to come into any resting position. If there are any last shapes that you know would serve you before your final rest, you'd be welcome to explore those now. If you're ready for Shavasana, corpse pose, feel free to invite yourself to bring in props such as a blanket over the body, maybe a pillow underneath the knees. You might take a few nice big deep breaths and sigh them out through the mouth, letting go of any tension or holding. There is a great energy that lies mostly dormant within each of us. This is the energy of consciousness or awakening. Whatever form purifying takes, it always begins with the intention to lighten the load we are carrying. Loads that weigh down your body, mind, and spirit. This guideline of purity invites us to move into ease, to do what it takes to get rid of this heaviness wherever we find it in our lives. Clean your body, clean your mind, Clean your living and workspace. In all the ways that we on to past wounds, we injure ourselves and keep ourselves from the ability to be pure with what is current in our lives. Forgiveness of self and other is the most generous gift we can give ourselves. Rather than planning ourselves, what if we practiced unplanning ourselves? Instead of striving to become someone lovable, what if we loved ourselves fiercely as we are? Instead of managing ourselves, what if we loosened the reins? See if you can give yourself a few moments of quiet, practicing slowing down, softening, relaxing the control of your breath, softening through your shoulders, your face, your jaw. Allow yourself to feel held and supported in this moment of quiet. Begin to deepen your breath and just sense the weight of gravity holding you to the earth. Imagine yourself so light and free without the hug from the universe in the form of gravity. You might float away. Just noticing what you can clean up, what you can purify from your thoughts, from your body. And can you offer yourself and others forgiveness, that greatest gift? Releasing any heavy burden. Allow yourself to feel held and cradled by the support of the earth. And as you deepen your breath, invite some soft, gentle movements into your fingers and toes, rotating your wrists and your ankles. And then you can stretch your body along, find a long body stretch, reaching your arms past your ears. Go ahead and roll onto one side and come into a fetal position. Maybe resting your head for a moment on your upper arm. Start to deepen your breath there, noticing the expanse of your inhale, release of your exhale. And then with the strength of your arms, go ahead and press yourself up into a seat. You're welcome to invite your hands to meet at your heart center in a gesture of gratitude, Anjali Mudra. Allowing your head to softly bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. And we say Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which means peace, peace, peace. Thank you all so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. And please feel free to let me know if you have any thoughts or questions about class.